Yo, how's it going, folks? How are we doing? Hoping everything is clear. Everything looks good. Got rid of the timer because I guess we could just chill and wait for people to come in. Just had a few problems after stream that I needed to sort out. They are sorted out. Hey, Nunya, how's it going? You know, life has a habit of coming along and saying, "Hi, how you doing? I'm here to ruin your day, but only just for a moment. So pack your bags and let's get ready." We've literally just started. Did you finally get the RTX 5090? Nah, Steve won't send it to me, man. No matter how many times I've told him to send it, I'm a good guy. Definitely, supporting the right team in Man United. He won't do it. I've tried, man. I've tried. I kept nudging and thing. I even said the right things like Gears of War sucks and stuff like that. He still won't do it. I even said that Batista should play as Marcus Phoenix and Vin Diesel should play Dom. Still nothing. I don't know what else I can really say to help him. Nah, he's a United fan himself. Do you know what? I'm happy to wait for the 6080 if they ever arrive. 80 series are good enough for me. Tell him you can eat a glizzy in 2 bites. Audio issues? What's the audio issues? Oh, wow, that's loud. Okay, that should be better. Why are you going up? Don't do that. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Don't do that. Oh, that might be my fan. Is that better? Maybe my fan is picking up and that's why the gain is going up. The gain on my mic is going up for no reason. Stop it. Listen, we had an agreement. I'm not going to have any tech issues today because it's way too hot. Yeah, it looks like the fan was forcing the gain to go up. It's my little mini AC unit. It's not hoovering. Oh, man, so I can't use it. Damn. I was so excited I was going to have a mini fan on me today. I feel betrayed. It's actually quite warm tonight. Let me push this out to the shitaverse. By the way, thanks for those that turned up to the the short stream I had today over at Twitch. We actually had a good turnout. It was the highest we've had so far. So thanks so much for supporting what I do. I appreciate it. We are getting closer. Picked up another couple follows today. We're getting closer to that number 50 on Twitch. Make yourself the Noctua fan 3D print. Nah. Sweat it out. Nah, you're good, man. That bisexual energy is taking over me. Hey, Brandon. Hey, look, my little pup isn't sleeping yet, so there's no yips at the moment. Man, it's hilarious listening to her as she goes, yip, 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 yip. But don't worry, Luna at some point will make an appearance today. I just know it. As she comes clawing at my legs. Okay. So, how have we been? How is everyone? My feet are fine. It's the rest of my body that's not. That did not happen. That categorically did not happen. I deny it. You can go and watch the VOD. It's there. That did not happen. I'm just putting it out there. That did not happen. Maybe I should have put the picture to the left, and me to the right, because it probably would have been better. Instead of my camera looking this way, I mean, I should have been looking that way. I wonder if I can fix that. No, you can't. There's no mirroring. No mirroring. Yo, Rabbi, what's up? The Dragon Age game, super cheap discount. Yeah, everything's the big Steam sale is coming up soon, right? I mean, RoboCop is £3 right now. That's crazy. No Nightbot to stop the free will. It wasn't Nightbot. I actually found out it wasn't Nightbot. So it was actually Twitch, right? But because Nightbot is integrated into it, Twitch was blaming, even though Twitch was triggering it, because I saw it in the settings over at Twitch, Nightbot was taking the blame for it. Oh no! When I realized what was actually happening, how Twitch was literally just Twitch was doing the deed and then blaming Nightbot for it. I thought that was really funny. Rabbi, we're gonna check out some of the demos later today. We're not watching the whole thing. I've said this multiple times. Sonic deal now on Steam. Oh, really? Let's have a look what this Sonic deal is. I see Elevator Guy is in full rebellion mode, right? There's a Final Fantasy franchise weekend sale as well. But why on Steam and not on Xbox? I wanted to have it all in one place. And I kind of wanted it. Oh, they do have it. How much is Crossworlds? Nah, still too expensive. Mate, it's 50% off and it is still £32. I know I'm going to play it like twice and put it down. I've got most of these games. I might just have to pick up Crossworlds at some point. Oh, Sonic Origins. I might have to pick that one up. That's at £8. It's begun. Mate, I support my wallet. That's where it starts. You support the wallet, and when you support the wallet, then you support the devs. You know, first comes my wallet. That's what gets supported first. Jeez, Final Fantasy 8 on thing is £4. Wait, why is Resonance cheaper on Steam than it is on Xbox? I feel like it's £40 on Steam and £50 on Xbox. I mean, it is Play Anywhere on Xbox, but still, that is some daylight robbery. Look, all I'm saying is this, right? All I'm saying is this. With GTA 6, have you noticed how they've removed the November release date everywhere? I'm just saying. Yeah, we'll check that in a sec, Rebby. Have you seen how they've removed that from everywhere? Everywhere. The November 19 has gone. Not even on the website. I'm just saying. I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy. Jason's Try confirms there are no case by case. Jason's Try doesn't confirm anything because, let's open up with the Sony story, right? Let's go with that one. Let's start off with the Sony story because this one's interesting. So, PlayStation CEO Hideaki Nishino gave an interview. And the translation is this one over here. There have been reports suggesting that you might reconsider bringing PlayStation 5 titles to PC. Essentially, the Jason Schreier scoop. Could you share your current thoughts on this? Nishino says, we've always determined platform selection based on the characteristics of each title. Loosely translated, case by case. If releasing a title on PC would maximize the gaming experience, we'll consider that option. If it's going to damage the PlayStation brand, we won't, right? Or if it just doesn't need it. Our current main policy is that for single-player games developed in-house, first party, we will further refine value of the gaming experience that PlayStation can offer. That isn't saying that it's exclusively only going to be on PlayStation. Just that they're going to prioritize the console first. So there's no day and date or anything like that. They're not closing the door for a staggered release. Now, that doesn't mean Wolverine is going to PC, but it could mean that Saros is going to go to PC. At the same time, we believe it's important for live service games to reach a wider audience through online multiplayer, so we continue to view releases on both PS5 and PC as standard. So that's very clear. There's no ambiguity there. 100% clear on what they're actually saying. When it comes to the gas games, they're going everywhere. They're going to PC and PlayStation because they want to reach a wider audience. Now, if you really wanted to reach the widest audience, you'd release that on Xbox as well, right? But they don't want to reach it to the widest audience. They just want to reach it to the audience they know that can hurt Xbox. Regardless of the platform, we will make decisions based on the principle of delivering the best possible gaming experience that maximizes each title's unique features. While he didn't give straightforward answers, I'd say he is at least indicating that their policy by saying will further value of single-player games on PlayStation 5. On PlayStation. That could obviously be interpreted in various ways. Now, if you're going to take what Jason Schreier said, he also said that they can change their mind at any given time. So his statement actually means a whole load of nothing. So Nishino basically confirmed that the games are going to remain on a case-by-case basis on what they believe will gain value on PC and not, still push the PlayStation brand forward. And live service games are going to be all the way. Now, I'm not saying Wolverine or anything else is confirmed to go to PC. He's saying it's a case-by-case basis and they will look at it based on the metrics. So in 2 years' time, if Wolverine is selling like 2 copies a game, there's a good chance it's going to appear on PC. That's what he's saying. Loaded is CD keys. Yeah, CD keys have become loaded. They rebranded because CD keys had a really negative or naming convention between them. They basically had like a G2A type of reputation with that name, so they decided to change the name and start anew and rebuild their reputation. But that's essentially it. I don't know if the Disney contract confirms anything. The Marvel contract or Disney contract that they have just stipulates that they need to hit a certain number of sales, and they're going to take a certain amount of a royalty cut per um, until they hit a certain threshold. Now, if they don't hit that threshold within the first 6 months, I can probably see Sony panicking and saying, "Right, we need to fix this." But if they hit that threshold and say within the first month, then they're not going to be in any rush, because the percentage that Marvel will take at that point gets diminished quite a lot. He's saying Yote and Soros is going to PC. That's my understanding as well. Ghost of Yote, Soros is basically going to appear on there at some point. But the more tentpole titles that are going to be there, that are releasing, they're literally going to be in a situation where they have to be in a position where they don't perform as well as they hope. And if the contracts and stuff don't, if they're not great in terms of the return they're getting and what was entailed, then that's something that they could get. Essentially, it's a case by case. People are jumping on this bandwagon saying that it's, everything is confirmed. They're pulling away from, nothing has been confirmed. Hideo basically, look, he could have easily come out, right, and said, all first-party Sony PlayStation games, single player, are only exclusively on PlayStation. If he said that, would there be any ambiguity? Yes or no? That is my question. Would there have been any ambiguity if he had said that? If he turned around and said, all single player, first party, in-house PlayStation 5, PlayStation games will release only exclusively on PlayStation consoles, would there be any ambiguity on that? There wouldn't be none, right? And equally, at the same time, we believe it's important for live service games to reach a wider audience through online multiplayer, so we continue to view releases on both PS5 and PC as standard, except for that new Horizon MMO, which is only releasing on PC. Imagine having your first party IP only releasing on PC. Now, Jason Schreier is posting about saying there is no case by case, there is none of this. That's not what the president said. And let's be realistic. Who are you going to listen to? Jason Schreier or the CEO of PlayStation? Who are you most likely to listen to? I know who I'd listen to. Look, I'm not even going to hide this. I have no love for that guy. I actually really hate him. It's personal reasons why I hate him. I'm not going to get into it, but I have no love for that guy. I am going to be completely honest and transparent. I am as biased as it comes with Jason. I will rip to shreds everything that he says and nitpick at everything he points out to just to disprove him. I don't like him, and I never will. But that's just a personal thing. None of the big journalists are saying that their plan is confusing. Frank, Bungie is laying off 400 members of staff, which is more than Compulsion Games, Double Fine, and Ninja Theory combined. In the last 3 years, they've laid off 1,200 people. I mean, with that 400, that will be a collective of 1,200 people. and not a peep. So it is what it is, man. The media will just continually hate on Xbox. I mean, didn't you just hear that idiot from Kinda Funny that was basically saying he would shut down and get rid of all the members of staff working on the hardware and fire them all and turn Xbox into a multi-platform? Like, that's going to fix anything? PlayStation needs better messaging. Well, it's clear what Nishino was doing here, right? Hideaki Nishino is very clear at what he's doing here. Do you remember some years ago they said Spider-Man will never be on any other platform? And then what happened? They don't want to be caught with their pants down again because they got humbled by that, because everyone ridiculed them, laughed at them because they went back on their word, right? So they don't want to be in that position again. So definitely, completely and utterly rolling it out. They don't want to do that because they know some point down the line they're going to push games there because games will either underperform or they're not going to do as well as they hoped, and they're going to want to bring a new audience in order to try and make some more money. Because regardless of how you look at these businesses, money is what makes them operate, and feelings don't come into business. It's not being confirmed yet, right? I love what Jess said and called it out, but he said he did say if it were true. Uh, in what regards, Vake? Sorry, I'm not following on. If you're talking about the actual studio shutdowns, yeah, nothing has officially come out from Microsoft yet. This is why Sony stay quiet and never ever confirm of pulling PlayStation games off PlayStation because PC, because Jason Schreier couldn't get it approved by his Bloomberg editor. Most likely. What's all been confirmed about the next gen Xbox? Absolutely nothing. RJS fan, absolutely nada. As of right now, they've said they're going to be reevaluating everything about the next gen Xbox because of just how expensive it is. And in many ways, it might just be better off for them to wait until, I actually think, honestly, instead of pushing for next gen consoles, it might, I don't know, it might be better off just trying to release an upgraded Series X. I don't know, the Series XX. One, it won't cost as much. If they can get the cost down, because like in the UK, it's £500 for a Series X. So if they can get an XX out for like $599 or $649.99, but I'm pushing more towards the $599 mark. It could work, and it could buy them an extra few more years to get out of this silly, memory shortage bubble that we're in right now, which is killing prices. Look at it. Apple just recently said we can't keep the prices low anymore. We're off. MSI Claude just said we can't sell these handheld PCs low anymore. Our next one is going to be almost $2,000. It's insane. $2,000, mate. They're losing their minds. How much can consoles improve? You see, it's not all about the graphics, right? It's not always about the graphics. It's mainly the CPU that's bottlenecking a lot of the stuff. We're at Zen 4 or 5 right now on PC, whereas the consoles are on Zen 2. So even if they went from Zen 2 to something like a Zen 3, that's going to be a huge upgrade in terms of just memory transfer and what that hardware can do. But then that might just add a whole new difficulty and, problems in developing games. I don't know. Obviously, That's the biggest thing that they can upgrade. Sony at the time with Mark Cerny said that they decided not to do that and just upgrade the GPU, because if they did upgrade the CPU, that would be an additional SKU that they would have to cater for, and they didn't want to do that. So it really depends how far they're willing to go. But it's not so much the memory that they need to upgrade or the graphics, because the Series X's graphics is pretty good. Um, it's the CPU. Oh, look at Ricky over here. Oh, poor Ricky. His feelings are so hurt right now. Everyone in chat, give Ricky a little pat on the back and a little pat on the head. The little twat is actually getting really upset. Oh, you gotta feel sorry for this guy or girl. I don't know what he is, so I don't want to be, a genderist, or he could be trans as well, for all I know. But you gotta give him a little pat on the back. Give him a little feed. I mean, come on, chat. Make him feel welcome. Come on, poor guy, woman, trans. I don't know what he is. Hey, Rifa, how's it going? Rabbit, they've been talking about World of Warcraft for a long time, um, to coming to consoles. I think it would be good for WoW. I know they've been working on getting controller support working for years, and it is working. I just don't think it's perfect. Oh, I know what he is, Paul. I'm just you know, trying to make him feel a little more a little more, comfortable. He seems to have, gone on his period or something, or it might just be, whatever the situation is clearly off his rocker or her rocker or whatever it is. I mean, lady, I have no hatred towards PlayStation. I have a PlayStation. I've got a PS5 Pro. Right? I've got nothing against the games that Sony make. I like PlayStation games. Right? I just, my chat here gives me a hard time for saying that I like The Last of Us Part 2. Like, they give me a really hard time. But I've never said that I don't like that game, and they will give me absolute shit for it. The only console that I do have that I almost never play, and I don't know what it is. I will buy so many games on there, and I don't play a single one of them. My Switch 2. I've got more physicals on my Switch 2 than I have for most things, and it just stays there. Everything is shrink wrapping, and it's like this really bad midlife crisis. So yeah, lady, I've got no problem against it, and I've always said everyone is welcome in my stream. Everyone is welcome here to chat away, be constructive. But if you're going to be nasty, I'm just going to make fun of you until you leave. And if you get toxic and start being really, really disrespectful, I'll just ban you, and everyone can have a free time that way, and it's done. But I've had so many nice places, people in here that are PlayStation fans through and through, and we've had no problems. We've gotten along well. Some of them come in just to see how far they can push me to trigger me. But for the most part, they're all right. I think he might have blocked me because I can't see a single thing he's saying. Uh, Honestly, lady, we don't. I don't with most. I don't with most. Like 99% of the people are really chill in here. You'll get the occasional person jumping in that's just literally here to cause trouble. And the easiest way I find to get rid of them is just to make fun of them. Do you want Blizzard team to start early port next gen? I think they should do it this gen if they've got the controller working. They need to get the controller working, Remy. It's not working at. I mean, the early stages, the early expansion of the game, from what I've heard, ain't working. It's only the later expansions that work. So there's a lot of work to be done to get the controller to work. JTech, what about him? I've never really interacted with JTech. I know he's blocked me, but I don't think I've ever actually said anything about JTech. Kels, you heard the media ban will affect 1617 gamers too, as they will have their chatting options turned off. Yeah, it's getting stupid with the whole 1617. I mean, how are they going to enforce it, right? How are they going to enforce my kid upstairs playing games in my house? What are they going to do? Have someone come round and watch my kids playing games? I think that's even more creepy. Right? Yeah, Vital. It isn't a hardware intensive game, but the controller support isn't perfect, and it needs to be perfect. Moonlight. Americans did it all the time with the British. It is so to try and get on your high horse about that. Don't, because it's dumb. And honestly, you know, politics isn't the right place for this. But I'm just going to say, it's give and take. It's vice versa. It happens, right? VPNs will be blocked too for 16 and 17-year-olds. But it's not going to be for anyone else. And, well, they're not going to stop me using VPN. Yeah, only for kids. How is he going to enforce it, though? So let me just quickly address this so we can move on from politics because I really don't like talking about it. The whole notion of what our prime minister is doing is literally to push in digital ID. He tried to push it through about 3-4 months ago and it got turned down and rejected. So now he's basically introducing a digital ID through the back door. By pushing these enforcements through, he's going to force people to sign up for a digital ID in order so they don't have to scan their face every time. So if I sign into YouTube now, it's going to say, "Hey, you need to scan your face to make sure you're of illegal age, or you can show me your digital ID through the system." And then once we've put that through, you don't have to do it ever again. So it's got nothing to do with protecting the children. It's got nothing to do with the kids. It's got nothing to do with social media. It's literally to do with pushing digital IDs through. That's it. It's that's literally all it is. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say in the matter, and we can move on from that topic. Try running a large raid with 4 gigs. Ugh! Man, I remember back in the day when I used to play Final Fantasy 11, and we used to have. So you used to go in with a squad of 18, right? An alliance of 18, but you'd bring a second alliance in with you with a squad of 18 because you were going to get your ass rearranged when you went in there because of just how many enemies there are and how strong they are. And the problem is the loot that drops is instance wide. And it's crazy. Anyone can actually enter that instance. So, for example, I could join your raids group. I could wait at the start of the instance. And when the best loot in the game drops, I can roll for it and get it and then jump out. Right. And the crazy thing is, it never happened. That action never happened. They worked out a system. The community actually came together to work out a system that worked where they literally had time slots of when they would go in. And so the big raid teams had it because it cost 1 million gil to go in, but you got enough currency in there to actually get it out. And 1 million gil at the time was a lot of money. And the actual community actually came together and created a online timetable where people were respecting the slots. The Japanese did it first, and then the Western market picked it up after. That's crazy. You can hear me. By the way, before anyone has a problem with and says why is Paul using capitals, he has he's visually impaired, so he needs to write in capitals in order to see what, just to make sure he can see what he's writing. So he's not actually shouting. I know this comes up time and time again. So I just wanted to put that out there because there's a number of new people in here today. So you might see that as weird, but it's not. It's perfectly fine. And that's the reason why. All I'll say is that's messed up. Of course it is. We do get free refills. We do have to pay a TV license, which we're trying to get abolished. It's in the process, but not quite there yet. But you also have to pay for your medical care. We get free NHS. We get a bunch of stuff that's paid for by our tax system that you guys just don't. So it's a different style of living, man. Robbie, what didn't you understand? Midnight, no one really cares. I'll be honest with you. But anyway, getting back on topic. So as it stands right now, it does look like it's a case by case basis, and he did nothing in actually changing that perspective. They're leaving the door open to some titles. That's it. I wish I knew what this meant. It was very vague what they were saying, right? And I think that's the biggest issue. Uh, yeah, Ghosty. I mean, all our medical stuff is free, right? Hey, sup, Steve? Yo, Steve, I sent you a DM. I don't know if you responded at all. You did not. Oh, well. All's well that ends well. You just woke up from a nap? I thought you was too busy racing. Oh, you missed my whole monologue on at the start of the stream. Oh, what a shame. Exactly right. Rabbi, WoW isn't a demanding game. That's all it is. The Series S can run it. I think that's what's happening, David. I think that's what they're doing. I think, slowly they've been working on their own launcher, and I think that's what they're going to do. And it's the smart play, right? That way they take 100% of the proceed. Because if I was Sony or Microsoft, I wouldn't want my games to lose 30% of their, cost value just because it's going to be on another store. Why would I want to do that? I wouldn't want to do that. And I can understand Sony not wanting to do that either. So I can totally see them at some point in the future releasing their own store with a selection of their games that are going to be on there. And, you know, like even now, like I play gacha games, right? And they're available, all of them are available on Steam. But I refuse to use the Steam version of the launcher because then Steam, if I when I do buy microtransactions or whatever, like the battle passes and stuff, Valve is taking 30% of that money, and I don't think that's right. So I download their official launcher, and I always use their official launcher for all of the gacha games. I've got like 5 or 6 installed, and I've got 5, 6 different launchers for them, and I do it that way. That's me personally, you know. And I can, if Sony released their launcher, I would buy their games there. If Microsoft has their PC Game Pass, I'll buy their first party games there. It's really that simple. I don't feel like Valve, needs to take that 30%. It doesn't even have to be 30%. It's so high for doing nothing. So I can totally get that, David. You know? Better to get 70 than 0. Lots of PC gamers will only use Steam. See, that's the problem. They won't. At some point, if they really want to play those games, they're either going to go fork out $1,000 for a PS5 Pro and then buy the game on the PS5, or they're going to download it through the launcher, or they're going to pirate the game. And the more piracy you see that's happening, the more these games are always online for that specific reason, for the handshake, right? And that's how they get around it. It's the oldest and easiest way to do it. The always online trick. That's why they do it. Needed an old man nap. Had a bunch of workers in house. Unless they give me. Oh, well, naps are good, man. Especially after what you've been through. I don't know if I trust some Chinese company's launcher with. PayPal is your friend. They all use PayPal. They all use PayPal. Enfield was weird. Um, I don't know what happened with Enfield, but that's one of the ones I don't play. But I play Wuthering Waves, Genshin Impact, Nikkei. I've stopped Nikkei now and Genshin. I'm playing NTE. Zero problems, man. And the good thing about PayPal is they give you your money back. Hail Gaben. No one hails Gaben. Only you, you traitor. No, I'm just kidding. Do what you need to do, man. Gaben gained an extra plus point from me today because I saw they're doing, and believe it or not, Steve is going to lose his mind now because he's going to be jumping for joy. They're doing a Final Fantasy sale for everything, and it's great prices, and it is Marcus Phoenix Batista approved. Great stuff. But yeah, so we'll see where this is actually going and what's going to become of it. But overall, I think nothing has changed from the PlayStation front. And honestly, I don't see this as a bad thing. I don't, I support Sony's decision to not be day and date. I think that does harm the PlayStation brand because that's what they're, for them, their console identity is paramount. So them not doing day and date, I think is fine. But I do see them pushing more games to PC. I don't think that they've completely and utterly turned that off. And why should they? Once a game has passed its saturation, push it to a new market at that point, right? The PC seems to be this hybrid market where no one really cares if the games go there. It's almost like PC by default wins every single time. You know, PC gamers just have to wait and everything eventually comes to them. You'll see like so many people, I don't want it on X platform, but PC, I don't care. It's like, okay, I see what's happening here. It's weird. IGN says a new report suggests Xbox layoffs will likely result in a bloodbath. Man, these guys sure love over exaggerating everything. It's going to be a lot, though. Of job losses and studio closures, leaving developers punished simply for following Microsoft's orders. That's a pretty strong statement. That's crazy, right? Look, it's there's no denying that there's going to be a lot of layoffs while they right the ship. But I found out today where people are saying that ID Realms, its software is basically up on the chopping block. And I found out today where the actual information came from. It came from Grums, apparently. And yeah, you heard that right. Apparently, Grums went onto all Microsoft Studios websites and checked for vacancies. And ID basic or id as they pronounce it didn't have any vacancies, and so he said they're next on the chopping block, and that's where the rumor broke out from. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. They're gonna look at. I don't even know how you actually would get to that point. That's insane. That's insane. How do you even get to that point? How do you even put that two and two together? Yeah, we're gonna get to it. See, that's what I thought. That's what I thought, Steve. Thanks for replying. See, my friend signed in, and he's paying more, so he signed out, and now he's paying less. It's weird. no job openings is a good thing last time I checked. I mean, it means that they've got like everyone employed, right? They've got the staff that they want, that there's no problem. But they're literally pushing the boat here. Now, look, I released a video recently talking about the situation with Xbox and the losses that are going to come. And you're going to hear a lot more in the coming weeks, right? Just make no mistake, you are. But it's what the company needs. And at the end of the day, the company is going to do what they need to do. It sucks that people are going to lose their jobs, but the way these people are reacting, like someone shot their mum or something, or shot their wife or their children, is crazy. At the end of the day, job losses happen all the time. The company I worked for, we lost 400 members of staff in the course of 6 months. And then they pretty much shut the business down and took all the assets and off they went. No one even heard about that or cried about that. And it's in the tech industry. And a lot of good talent is still, like a lot of my friends that I worked with are still unemployed 6 months down the road. And now they're looking for anything that they can find, like myself. It's shit. It's the tech industry is getting worse and worse. And with AI in the mix, it means that jobs are going to get harder and harder in this industry. But it happens all the time. So I really don't, I really don't get why it's so glamorized here. Now they're gonna look at the studios that aren't making money. They'll see the ones that benefit the business that they're doing, and they'll have talks about that. They'll maybe merge some of these studios entirely into other studios to do what they can. But Microsoft just owns way too many studios. They've got like what, 30, 40 studios? That's a lot to maintain and a lot to manage. And when games are taking 10 years to come out at a time, 15 years, or in the case of Elder Scrolls 6, 45, 50 years to come out, it's going to cost, the cost goes up exponentially. The business has to, the division has to make money. What do you mean? What about Forza? Forza's making money. Is Forza seeing, is Playground Games seeing job losses? I didn't hear anything about Playground being on the chopping block. Xbox lacks strong IP. I mean, Forza Horizon's a strong IP. Gears is a strong IP. They have Zero Marvel. They've got Blade. Blade is Marvel. So they have strong IP. No, we're talking with Gears is on the. Don't say stuff like that. Blade is over there in development. The last we heard from them, which was earlier this year, I think in February or March, the director said that it was developing fine, it was going well, and the person PlayStation fans glamorize like head over heels, Nate the Hate, said that he's spoken to the team and everything's in good order. They're progressing on schedule, and it's all working fine. So I know how you guys glamorize and worship Nate the Hate. So you either believe what he says or you don't, or if it's situational, then that says more about you than anything else. Blade hasn't even had a single gameplay reveal. What are you even on about? Have you seen stuff, Raven, that no one else outside of Microsoft has seen? Honestly, they're vital. Game development shouldn't last more than 3 years. I feel like the scope of games need to go down. I mean, there's no, there's no, you know, in terms of Arcane Leon, I think I don't even know where Arcane even came into this. I know Jez mentioned it because he apparently heard it from somewhere else, but none of the major places are reporting Arcane Leon. It came from this random source that everyone seems to be making up at this point. So I think Arcane Leon is fine. You've seen concept art. Like, concept art looks way different to what the game finally looks like. KOTOR is indeed a very ancient Xbox game. I think they just need to, get that scope and bring it in. You don't need a game costing $2.5 billion like GTA. Bring it in. Start making your games cost, 100 million at max for, the big ones that you expect are going to sell. And even that is crazy. Right? I mean, the rumor right now is that South of Midnight cost 100 million to make. That's crazy. 100 million for South of Midnight. I mean, I'd get like 50 million for it, but 100 million is insane. Obviously, it's a rumor, so take that as you will with a grain of salt. But it's insane if that's true. And apparently, it only made like 5-10 million in sales. I mean, Darth Raven. I'm more inclined to be playing games that have a 10 to 12 hour completion time than I do for games that are, 400 hours long. I much rather play games that have a start and a finish where I can see insight than not. RPGs are different, obviously. I mean, I'll throw it in that right now because I know I'm playing Trails in the Sky first chapter over at Twitch. And I think I've hit like chapter 2 and I'm on like 20 hours or something. Man, that boss battle was dirty at the end. That's all I'm gonna say. They cheated. But I can get RPGs being long. It's in their nature. I also think, unlike Phil, who was a gamer, Phil through and through was a gamer. There's no denying that, right? He had this relationship with the developers that is different to, say, someone like Asher, who I would say is more like Jim Ryan. She may dabble in the video games and has, she said that she's played a bit of games, but she's not a gamer. She's a business person. And she will look at things from a business perspective and not a gamer's perspective. And honestly, that's what Microsoft needs right now. They need someone that's going to go in, be a bit, cutthroat, fix what's broken, put it in a position where it needs to be self-sustainable, and then build off that. But if the core right now is just broken, and they need to fix it, and she's going to do whatever she needs to do in order to do that. Man, what we need is a Spawn video game. We haven't had one of those in a while. I did like the Spawn video game on Dreamcast. It was good. Finished with Spider-Man 2 now. I was playing Echoes of Aincrad on stream today. That wasn't bad. It's just a shame that and if you haven't tried it, there's a free demo. It's about 6 hours long, and you do get to transfer your progress to the main game. But man, it's a shame that it's not multiplayer. A game like that really deserved to be multiplayer. I mean, if it was Negan, I don't know if it was. It's just people throwing at the moment because Xbox is such a big target and Microsoft is a big target. Everyone is just throwing numbers everywhere. You don't know what to believe. Even what's his name? Nate couldn't confirm the budget on there. People worship Jason Schreier. He couldn't confirm the budget on there. A few other insiders couldn't confirm the budget. There was this talk about Perfect Dark costing 814 million. That was bogus as well. That's being debunked as well. It turns out that 814 million was, the whole studio and everything involved with it. It wasn't just the development cost of the game. The development cost of the game was a lot smaller than half of what it would cost. It's still a waste of money, but a lot of stuff is being thrown out right now in regarding to this because no matter what anyone says, the rage monsters on X are instantly going to grapple onto it, run over to X, in front of a camera and make a video. And, the media, on the other hand, is going to immediately take whatever it said. I mean, don't you remember what they said without actually realizing? I can't remember who it was. Prominent insider, Japan hates Xbox, said X, Y, and Z. That's what one of the media outlets actually said. Prominent insider, Japan hates Xbox. Like, when you start seeing stuff like that being portrayed, you kind of know that they're literally looking for anything and everything that they can report on. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. The fact that it's going to get the clicks, the views. I mean, just look at Dreamcast guy, prime example. That guy starts lying before the video starts, but people are still watching it because they want to see him lie and they want to piss themselves off with his lies. Like, there isn't a single person out there that starts lying before the video starts, but he does. But people still want to watch him. It's just become a dog-eat-dog world out there, and it's so hard to find the truth. It's so hard to see what's what. Everything is always painted in a black, a really dark black image. Like, for example, I saw someone today saying, "Oh, PlayStation may be getting rid of 400 staff members at Bungie, but it's not as bad as Sony closing 3 studios, which collectively is less than the 400 that Bungie is getting rid of. Sony is getting rid of at Bungie. So collectively, Sony is getting rid of more members of staff, but that's not as bad as is losing less than 400 staff." And that's the mentality that goes around. Brainwashing is a drug. I turned around and said, it's really sad what's happening at Bungie. I have no love for Pete Parsons. I think Sony should go after him and sue him for everything he's got. Take everything he's got because he's the one that sunk the business. And it's a shame that 400 people are about to lose their jobs. And I said it's crazy that they're doing this. And the immediate thing was, yeah, it's crazy with the 3 studios as well, innit? And I'm like, dude, I've literally just said that they're all bad. It doesn't matter about the platform. What the fuck are you talking about? But the brainwashing has got so far with these idiots on social media that it can't be helped anymore. I think what Microsoft should be doing is looking at some of their studios. Look, some of these games that are over there, right? Like South of Midnight, like Kiln, like Keeper. These are great Game Pass fillers. And that's their value. It's not about how many games they're selling. It's not about how many copies they're selling. Their value, if they want to maintain Game Pass, is making sure that they've got content in there. And that's it, right? Now, obviously, they need to make sure that the budgets for those games don't balloon because that defeats the purpose. Because they, if they're going to write it off as, some of it, it can't be too expensive. And I'm guessing Hellblade was a bit expensive, but South of Midnight being 100 million, if true, is crazy, right? Something like Keeper and Kiln, which would obviously be a lot cheaper, those are great. Super Game Pass games to fit in there. So I think just being like a studio that fills up Game Pass is fine. But, people are now looking at and saying, oh, all of this and painting this whole negative picture. Hellblade 2 was released. Like, people are saying Game Pass killed Hellblade 2, right? Let's look at the numbers. There is 1.8 billion PCs out there, right? But let's just say there's 200 million actually able to play Hellblade 2. We're not even going to talk about the three-letter cloud service or anything else out there that can actually play it. I'm not including xCloud in this because that's via Game Pass. I'm including the services like Boosteroid and stuff where you still have to buy the game and then can play it through the cloud. There's a specific one that has 3 letters. My chat has banned me from using that word, so I can't use it, those letters or the words. But that's also, you buy your game, you can play it, right? But let's just say 200 million, and I'm not going to include the cloud ones. You got the 100 million from PlayStation as well. So that's 300 million outlets that could actually go and buy the game. And then you've got Xbox with their 40 million, and they're going to turn around and tell me that because 40 million are on Game Pass, that surpasses the 300 million people out there. But if a game doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. That's it. Right? If it's not selling and it's not being picked up, there's a reason for that. And it's a shame because I gave Hellblade 2 a 9 out of 10. I loved it. We will only mock you a lot. I ain't plugging nothing. You guys don't know what I'm talking about. So I just looked up mocap for South of Midnight, and it was led by the guy that mocapped the Jar Jar Binks. Really? Nice. But what is it? Ninja Theory have their own mocap studio. No, Gorsty, you said that you're going to super chat me if I don't say it every stream, so I can't do it. I cannot do it. Rabbi, I did not see what you said. Please ask again. Hey, Talos, how's it going? But, there's another game that recently came out, and I found out actually why it actually failed, right? I mean, the flags were there, the signs were there. It just didn't register, right, to me. Because the game was so good. So there's a game called Lunar Abyss, right? And it's a game that's it gave me like Doom, Destiny vibes, but also like Returnal and Saros vibes. It was a really good game. And I really liked it. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. Metacritic gave it an 8.1 overall. And it was on Game Pass, and the game disappeared. But it's also available on PC, day one, and also available on PS5, day one. But apparently, Game Pass is the reason it failed. When it's available on over 300 different outlets, including the service I can't name you, which then opens it up to another 500 million people. So you're talking about 800 million people had access to this game. But the only reason it failed is because it's on a subscription service that has about 35 million people on there. Now, tell me where the logic is with that one. I just want to know where the logic is there. Where is the logic in that? How's Turkey doing it? I have no idea, Paul. The only bit of football I watched, honestly, was today when I was having breakfast. I put on YouTube and I watched highlights of England and then the Japan game. Rabbit, you didn't ask your question, so I can't see what it was. You can use them. Feel free. No, I want that super chat. Can Asher Shah run only cloud World of Warcraft? I mean, if they wanted to do that, Rabbi, they can do that. There's no reason why they can't run the cloud for MMOs. Latency might be a problem, but they can do it. You see, Woodpit, I knew there was a reason why I didn't follow up. They bring bags to the games to help clean up after. Like it doesn't make sense, right? When you're looking at how many people are out there that have access to this game, and you're going to complain because it was on a service with 35 million people. I don't know. It seems stupid to me. Sell people water. So, but look, I understand why Lunar Abyss failed because Kotaku won't actually tell you why it failed. They'll go on a tirade, for example, telling you that it was Xbox's fault. But the fact is, right, every single character in there, I think, okay, not every single one because there was one that wasn't, but I think like 99.9% of the characters out there basically had their boobs sticking out in a metallic android form, but every single one had a men's voice. That was the first red flag that I totally didn't see. The second red flag was when the character turned around and said, I'm not a she or her, I'm a they and them. The third one is when you find out that all the developers are actually activists, all 9 of them. The fourth one is when they turned around on social media when people were complaining to them to not do this sort of thing. And they said, if you don't like the game, don't buy it. See, to me, if you tell me not to buy your game, then I'm just not going to buy your game. And so people didn't buy their game. So I think they're as much to blame for their game failing than anyone else. People are entitled to make whatever game they want. They're just not entitled to the money that everyone else has. You make games that people want. If you don't make games that people want, you find out there's a problem. Vital, it's a game called Lunar Abyss, and it's a really good game. Like, if you just get past all that silly activist stuff, underneath it, there's a solid game, and the ending will have you just saying WTF. Like, what the hell? Right? And even though you'll see, like, throughout the story that there were signs that it was leading there, you kind of didn't want to believe it was going there. You kind of, I don't want to say anymore because it's spoiler territory. It's not a very long game, and I recommend people play it. There are issues with the game. It's not perfect. Lots of repeated stuff. They were a small indie company. The studio shut down now. All the stuff has been laid off. But it's such a good game. It's on Game Pass if you want to play it, or it's like £12 or £15 if you want to buy it on other platforms. It's a really good game. You should play it. The first red flag was 99 red balloons. Hey, I like the color red. It's my favorite color. We are the Red Devils after all. How many reviews? I'm not sure. I reviewed it. It's on my channel if you want to go check it out. I don't really go into any spoiler territory, but I do tell you what the game is like, what sort of mechanics there are, and so forth. So feel free to check that out. It is, but it's a well done Cheap Man Seros. It's a good story. That's the problem, Chaos. Games are way better than before, but the writing is so trash. I thought the writing in this one was actually pretty good, though. It wasn't bad. It kind of did what it needed to do. it kind of gave you hints of what was happening. It was actually, you know, pretty decent. But if you tell people don't buy my stuff, then you're not going to buy your stuff. it's just. Hey, leave my hair alone. Look, I've got hair. I'm not bald. Chat, tell him I'm not bald. Lunar Abyss should have released on November 19. Wait, isn't the new Zelda game releasing around that time? There is no wig. This is all natural. Nah, this wasn't deep, man. This was a dude. Which, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't even care while I was playing because the game was that good. I didn't notice it. I did think, I mean, I think I might have mentioned it once on stream where I said, why do they all have dude voices? I think I might have mentioned it once. But if a game is good, it's good. None of that BS is going to, get in the way of a good game. And like I said, I gave it an 8.5 out of 10, which I think is a fair score. Spider-Man is coming to Xbox, no BS. I know on Metacritic, I think it got 81, or was it something like that? At least that's what I read. Where's your sauce, Better? I need the sauce and not the HP kind or the Heinz kind. I need the actual sauce. It's so small, and it only takes one small BS to tank that game in a straight dominant. That's the thing, right, Negan? Like that game, it's a small game, and you really don't want to put any roadblocks in front of you. They could have had really good prospective futures if that game kicked off and was really successful and went viral and everyone was playing it. But when you deliberately put roadblocks in front of you, and I understand in the day and age that we live in, but you still shouldn't purposefully be going out and trying to make that path even more difficult, especially in this economic climate when studios are being shut down so easily. Hey, Shinzo, how's it going, my dude? Welcome back. Yeah, that's what the reports are saying, Shadow, but I've been looking around and I can't find a single source for it. So the only thing I found that is related to that is someone asked someone who doesn't work at ZeniMax, I've heard that they're laying off people at ZeniMax. And then the person said, oh, so you've heard. And that's it. That's it. That's what they're going on. I mean, what does that even mean? what does that even mean? But that is what they're going off of in terms of layoffs as ZeniMax. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm expecting layoffs in every single department from Xbox Studios, all of them. I'm expecting some layoffs, maybe from minimal to more in ones that didn't sell very well. I'm expecting it. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about Detective Seeds, but he's recently just announced that PlayStation is coming through with anywhere between 8 and 20% staff reduction in all their studios over the next 2 or 3 months. And that excludes the Bungie 50% layoff. So, it's just happening everywhere. Do you know what, Paul? One of these days, I'm never going to be bald. It's going to be the same as today. It's just the industry we're in right now, Google. It's just the industry we're in right now. Everyone like overhired during the COVID bubble, and they're still trying to think. And the problem is the overspending that we were doing during then, people aren't spending now. They're not buying games day one. They're waiting for sales. I mean, the Steam sales are there for a reason, right? They're crazy sales. But it's insane that how less. And I'm seeing people saying, well, maybe these studios, in order to maintain their staff, should be pricing their games at $90 a pop. These are people from the US saying this, and I'm like, people aren't buying games now at 70 a pop, and you think they're gonna buy it at 90 a pop? What are you, crazy? That's another thing. Like staff wages here in the UK for developers is around 50, 60K, right? For developers. They can go higher, obviously, but the average is around 60K. In the US, it's like well over 100K. You got 10 staff, that's $1 million. Have a good night, Paul. They're not all layoffs either, as Microsoft have early retirement option, and I can see a lot, at least the senior members taking the cash. There's that, and also, Steve, contractors, right? The amount of contractors that Microsoft employs is crazy. A lot of the layoffs are going to, include a ton of contractors that they're basically just going to say, right, we're terminating your contract, off you go. But those people that are contracted to work there, it's in the name. They're contractors. They're not full-time employees. And so you'll see a lot of that happening that's going to be included in that number. And, the other day someone said I was being heartless. I was being cruel. Apparently, I don't care for the industry. I don't care about people. I don't do any of this. Look, it's sad that a studio closes, right? But I guarantee you, if a studio that you like enjoyed a game from shut down today, when you wake up tomorrow, you're going to be perfectly fine. And you're going to go about your day the exact same way. And by the afternoon, you're probably not even going to care, because there'll be bigger problems that you have to deal with in your life than that situation. As harsh and horrible as that sounds, it's the reality. If it doesn't impact you, then it's a problem. I got laid off December the 17th via a phone call, right? While I was on holiday. I took a holiday and I get a call, and, it sucked, but I was impacted by it. So, it is what it is. But no one else cared that I was laid off. I didn't see any articles about Chaos Lounge has been laid off and the whole business that he worked under has laid off 400 members of staff. No one cared. And there's a lot of talented people there that won't be finding jobs in the IT industry again. Everyone just went on with their daily work, and it's going to be the same here. It's what I find that's the biggest, what I find that's worse than everything else, right? What I find that's really bad is how you've got YouTube channels, you've got the media who are monetizing. You've got people on Twitter who are monetizing these job losses. You'll see a bunch of people with blue ticks that are posting every single minute about this, getting upvotes and clicks and likes so they can make money off it. It's fake. It's all bloody fake. Now, there are going to be a small subset of people that are actually going to be upset about it because the game franchise that they liked is now being impacted and they may never see another version of that game. And I totally get that, right? I do. But the majority of it is just fake because not a single person out there cares. They don't. They just want to show that they care so they can join the rabid crew and become part of this herd movement that has a voice. And I'm just not into that. Microsoft is still the biggest pony, took Xbox exclusives. Took Xbox exclusives. I mean, what do you want them to do? They want to bring their console back into the limelight. They're doing what they need to do to make Xbox again. Xbox where I live, they have to give you like 90 days before they even let you go to find a new job. Different states have different rules, right? We got where I worked, we got bought out by an American company. I got a call from someone in America, and they basically said, "Yep, this is the thing. This is what's happening, and there's no appeal to this, and you'll be notified via email. Get in touch with your lawyer and send the information to them." And that was it. But life moves on, right? Life moves on. Flexing about giving Xbox money. Man, did you see the other guy? I can't remember who it was now. I want to say it was Tripster or it was Generic Eric. It was one of those two. They were like, I was gonna buy these games, but now I'm gonna give Microsoft money on Game Pass to play them. Okay. So now you're still giving them money. Good on you, bro. So you're gonna show Microsoft that they're doing bad by subscribing to the service that's taking the games away from you and playing. I can't. You can't even make up that level of stupidity. You can't. Well, it's really weird, right, Trey? Because the vision was this. Phil's vision was, I'm going to create the Netflix of gaming. And we're going to get, you know, we know the console market isn't growing, right? We've seen it pretty much year in, year out, generation in, generation out. It's always stagnated around the same level of consoles sold. All that's happening is you're getting people from one side going to the other or to the other. The closest they've ever become together, which kind of shows the point, is the 360 PS3 era where they were pretty much the same. So it's not growing. So in his eyes, the pitch he had was, if we move beyond the console and to the cloud, you got TVs, you got phones, you got tablets, right? The cloud is where it's at. And you know what? In 15, 20 years' time, it very well may be. But right now, we're not there yet. And he went into this quite prematurely. And then he said, look, you got like 1.8 billion PC users. Then you got the cloud as well. We've got like, 2 billion people out there that are ripe for the taking. The problem is no one bit from the cloud side. Now, if Game Pass today had 200 million subscribers, you wouldn't be seeing any of this. You'd be seeing none of it. It would be a complete different ball game. it would be a complete different thing, right? The problem is the push that they did for cloud did not pay out. It didn't work. It was a gamble. It was a huge gamble. Unlike the Xbone situation where they gambled on TV, which if you look at how we use a lot of people use their consoles today, they use it for multimedia, for YouTube, for watching films and everything else. Back in the Xbox One days, people just weren't ready for that. They reacted too soon. And in an essence, they did the same mistake again with the cloud. Like I'm saying, give it another 10, 20 years, maybe 15 as a sweet spot. You're going to see cloud gaming become so much bigger because it's so good right now. But it's, there's still limitations on what it's using, and the AI situation is making things a lot more difficult. But once all of that has died down and costs are going to go down, upkeep is going to go down, quality is going to get even better, latency is going to get even better, you're going to see that it's going to become so much more accessible. And that's when it should have been done, not now. And that push to get to those 2 billion people failed in a historic matter. That's what that whole "This is an Xbox" campaign was all about. Getting to those 2 billion people that are not console gamers. And it didn't work. And if it had worked, we wouldn't be talking about this now. We wouldn't even be discussing it. Xbox would pretty much be just swimming like Scrooge McDuck in the billions of dollars that they'll be making. But it didn't work out. And along with that, they said, right, this isn't working. So Satya said, well, I'm a multi-platform person. I like everything everywhere. That didn't work too. Clearly, because no one bought their games on PlayStation. It's just a different, the people who play PlayStation games don't like the style of games that Xbox makes. But the games that people like on Xbox aren't engineered for those people on PlayStation. It's like Nintendo, right? They've each got their subset market. You'll get the people like me who like a bit of all of them, right? I like all of them. But I'm weird, and I'm few and far apart. The majority of people have a certain style of game. Like, for example, Steve hates anything that's Gears related. He hates it. He despises it. He will not play Gears even if you paid him to play Gears. He just cannot stand that brand, right? He's more of a Final Fantasy person. He loves it. He loves his JRPGs. And if you say anything bad about Final Fantasy, he will really come after you. But, you can see how he is more, kind of PlayStation orientated instead of Xbox. People will have their style of games, and each platform has their certain style of genre that they specialize in. And so now they've realized that the multi-platform approach isn't working. They need to cut back, and people are going to lose their jobs, and they're going to get to a position where the business is, affordable, and they're going to turn around and actually, make the business what it should have been in the first place. Rachie, thank you for the $2 super chat. Check Phil after Redfall. He looked betrayed. I mean, he was though, right? Because ZeniMax, if you remember at the time when the information about Redfall came out, the staff that worked on Redfall who wanted to go to Phil and talk about it, ZeniMax, about the problems. The ZeniMax CEO at the time said that told them, it came out that if they spoke to Phil about this, they would lose their jobs. Now, I don't even know if that's even legal, but this was the threat that was put onto them. Now, the part that I can't get behind is when these developers turned around and said, we didn't like the direction the game was going in, so we couldn't be bothered to work on the game. So we were doing the minimum effort to get it across the line. Any manager hearing that, I don't care what the situation is, If you're not putting the effort for the money I'm paying you to work to get that across the line in the best possible way, and you're going to turn around and openly admit, and it wasn't just one, it was a whole slew of staff that actually said that, you've literally signed your exit strategy by doing that. And everyone saw how that kind of ended. Sounds like you're wanting me to empty chat. I should be careful because unfortunately he does know where I live. I actually thought he was on his way down here to inflict pain. Dude was so pissed in that interview after Red Bull. But the problem with that interview that Kind of Funny had, they kind of went for him, right? Like they could see that he was down and out, and apparently that interview was about to get cancelled as well, but he decided to turn up for it anyway because he didn't want to, not turn up and cause more commotion. But the way they went at him, even though they could see that he wasn't in the right frame of mind or in the right mood, and they were told about this as well prior, and they still didn't care. They just went for him. And the thing I'm going to say is they wouldn't have done that if it was a PlayStation executive. Do you know how I know they wouldn't have done that? Do you know? Here's how I know. And this is facts, right? When the leaks came out about Rockstar or all the other companies, we have to report on it, right? It's what we do. We're a media base. We have to report on leaks. When the leaks from Insomniac happened, leave Insomniac alone. We're not going to report on the leaks. It's not fair on Insomniac. But for every other company that had breaches and leaks, we have to cover them. It's our job. That's how you know that they're basically full of shit. Right? That's how you know that, Kind of Funny. They're not serious. They've got no respect for anyone. Unless it's PlayStation. So I was sent this clip. And I want to play it in like 1.5, maybe 2. Well, it's not a clip. It's actually a video. It's this one here. It's overall, it's 20 minutes long, 23 minutes. So if we play it in 1.5 or 1.7, if we can understand it, it will be, roughly about 10 minutes long. Apparently, it's a really good discussion. I don't know how good it actually is, but it is from IGN Unlocked. And you can't have IGN without ignorant, but apparently it's a really good discussion, and I've been told that we should check it out today. Does anyone actually want to check this out before I pull it away? Because I haven't watched this, but I've heard it's really good. All right, let's do it. You've twisted my arm, Treybone. I was on two minds, but that sure was so affirmative. Even that yes coming from Derwin, I'll take it.
It is time to bring up, I mean, in fairness, the community's been talking about this for a while. And some people have really strong feelings about it, one way or the other. We are now 9 years officially into the Game Pass experiment. And I think it is fair. I don't say that in like a derogatory way. Experiment, like it.
When did Game Pass release? Wasn't it? No, we're not doing Dreamcast. No. Like I said earlier, man, that guy starts lying before I hit play. That guy. Look, Usher isn't a gamer, right? And I think that's a good thing. because having gamers run the business, feelings get involved, sentiments get involved. When someone who isn't a gamer is running the business, they don't look at feelings. They don't look at, the projects or anything. They base it on numbers. And right now, Xbox for many years has been run on sentiment, on feelings, and a vision, and it's not worked. So now they're bringing in someone who's just going to look at the numbers and judge it based on that and do the best that she can in order to bring Xbox back to a sustainable platform and be a successful console again. I personally don't think that she's going to go far enough. That's my opinion, because I think she should basically be pushing the PC app a lot more. I think she should be pushing xCloud more. I think she should be pushing the Xbox more. I mean, she is pushing Xbox, but I think she's like completely abandoned the PC. Like, they don't care about the PC app, it seems, right? And it's a shame because it's there and they don't want to push it. And I think they should. And they should make games exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem. All first-party games should be only to the Xbox ecosystem. But that's my opinion. Anyway, let's see what they've got to say. I do not do meth.
It had never been done before, like especially a major first party trying to create, by their own words, I don't know if they ever literally said this, but we all understand Game Pass to be an attempt to be the Netflix of video games. And it was going to take a lot of money to pull off. And so, Microsoft's got plenty of that in their war chest. So we're 9 years into the Game Pass experiment. And so the question that I want to ask each of you is Game Pass, in the grand scheme of things for Xbox, I'm not saying for the industry, for Xbox as a business, because that's what all this is about this week, is Game Pass proving to be a mistake? Or, if we don't want to quite go that severe necessarily, is it sustainable in its current form, whereby day one releases go into the service? Like, people are not buying games on Xbox. We know this. They won't even give out numbers anymore. Some third parties are even not releasing, or very.
Did Sony release official numbers for Saros? Did Saros actually get any official numbers? I'm not picking on Saros. I'm just making a point here. Did Starfield get official numbers? Did anyone from either Bethesda or Microsoft come out and give Starfield numbers? If I remember correctly, they did. Right? I'm pretty sure that we also had, the player numbers were from the early access, so every single one of those bought the game, right? They either got the £120 deluxe edition, or they paid the $40, I think it was, for the early entry. But every single one of those people that played when they reported those numbers during early access was a paying customer. So it was 2 million, 3 million people? All 3 million of those were paying customers. Forza Horizon also had, I think, a statement of sales. I'm getting to my point, don't worry. I'm not like, this isn't just for nothing. When a game doesn't do well, you won't see numbers. When a game does well, you will see numbers. You don't see Sony singing Saros's numbers because it didn't do well. You don't see Sony singing. I mean, did Sony even state Yotei's numbers? I mean, they said that it sold around the same as thing. I think they might have. But the point I'm making here is, if the game doesn't do well, they're not going to speak on the numbers because, it looks silly. And so, yeah, there has been instances where they have, like, for Ryan to say they haven't done it at all is not true, because there are instances here and there where they have done it because the sales have been good.
Skeptically releasing games, and they're not selling games on Xbox. So, Miranda, you first here.
I just want to point out, I do buy games on Xbox. right? In fact, I think I buy a lot of games on Xbox. Way more than I should, because I'm never going to play them all.
Where do you, how much of Xbox's current self-imposed predicament is a result of the Game Pass experiment not going as well as they'd hoped?
First thing I'm going to say, I still like Game Pass.
Yeah,
I think it's very
from a consumer perspective. Yeah,
consumer perspective.
Don't get me wrong. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the consumer perspective is like Game Pass rules. Like it is so convenient for finding so many different games, trying smaller ones. Khalif, as you're saying, like it's the indies that hold, or like smaller experiences that hold a lot of this together in the meantime between development cycles. And I think Game Pass really lends itself to exposing yourself to new kinds of games, new developers without having to invest much. That being said, I do think Microsoft has put itself in a strange place with how it expects success. And I know they do have some metrics on like how much people play with Game Pass, as far as like how much time have they spent within the game? Like, did they finish this game? Like there are ways to track that. And I think that is informing some of the changes they're looking at now. But I do think at the end of the day, because they are so married to the subscriber bottom line, as I was saying earlier, when they make a massive mistake, like raising the price too much to the point where everybody just cancels because it is too much, especially if you have the higher tier people who are paying more per month canceling in mass, you're kind of risking something fundamentally challenging. Like if you put all your eggs in one basket, like, what are you doing? And so I think that's maybe also why we start seeing it move away from exclusives, right? So it's like,
see, I think this is a bit of a mixed bag, right? I think it's a bit of a mixed bag because these people that are paying for Game Pass, and whether they're paying the full price of it or not, they probably play like 4 or 5 games a year. Maybe it's most of the people play anywhere between 1 and 3 games a year, right? And most people are playing either Fortnite, Madden, FIFA, Call of Duty. These are the games they're playing, right? So when you look at most people are playing these games anyway, even if Game Pass didn't exist, they're not going to be buying those games, right? They're not going to be buying those games. And the fact that they're subscribing to Game Pass, they're paying money. They're getting more money probably from a lot of these people than they would if they weren't signed into Game Pass. You know, signing on for Game Pass. So it's really weird to me that they look at it as black and white, but they're not looking at it from a metric where games are just too expensive. If the games were £40 each, you would see that more people would be willing to buy games. I used to buy a lot more games when they were 40, 50 quid. Once they went to 60, I started, this is all right. The moment they hit 70, I stopped. Now I started, that's too close to £100, right? 70 is too close to £100 mentally for me. And so psychologically now, I pull back. Am I going to play that game right now? Am I going to have time to play day and date? Because if I don't, I'm just going to, I'm just going to play it on, wait for a sale to come along and then pick it up. Metaphor ReFantasio. That was on Game Pass. I don't think it's on Game Pass anymore. That came off Game Pass, right? That was a game I wanted to play, and I knew I was going to play it. When did Metaphor ReFantasio come out? Like, what was the release year for Metaphor ReFantasio? Because I know it's no longer on Game Pass. It came off. But when was the release date? The year for Metaphor? Was it 2024? 24. Right? I bought that game day one, and it was on Game Pass. It was Play Anywhere. I bought it, right? Because I really like the design. I like Persona. I still haven't played it. I could have waited to 2026 and picked it up for 10 quid. I was an idiot buying it day one. And this is while the game was on Game Pass day one as well. But I like Persona, and I like the art style of the game, and I like the direction it was going in, and I bought it. I still haven't played it. That's the point I'm making. People now are more careful with how they spend their money. But when you sign up to subscription services, you say, it's only like £15 a month, whatever, right? And that's how it works. What wasn't Heck Boogie?
Okay, if we can sell these games on other platforms, that helps supplement Game Pass in some way if we're losing subscribers. So going back to being exclusive, still having everything in there except for Call of Duty, because of course that is another big thing that people buy. It's like one of the things that people buy every year. And instead of just subscribing for a month, which is way cheaper than just buying the game, you know, you get the game plus everything else. So I think they put themselves in a strange place for financial success, especially when we know like the system in the race against the other consoles, if we want to frame it that way, is just not selling the same way. Like the Xbox is just not selling like the PlayStation or now the Switch 2, but I think Switch 2 is like in a different place, but that's new, right? I think that comparison, which we know that's not necessarily what drives their sales, but I think is part of this puzzle piece as well, or as a piece of this puzzle as well. And it's that hard line of, well, I want these studios and Xbox to continue, but I also selfishly want Game Pass to continue as it is, because it is so helpful for being able to play these games. I think I've said it before too. Like if I had Game Pass as a kid, it's like insanity, like incredible exposure to all these games. And that is something that I think Phil really built on when like really nailed with his team, was that they wanted games to be something that people can get into as a hobby when it is getting more and more prohibitively expensive. I think, you know, of my childhood, of how many games I had access to simply because of money, like how much pocket change I had to save just to get one game and how long that took and how picky you had to be. And the ecosystem of games access is changing so much as far as like free to play and other experience-based games.
That's the other thing, right? The free to play games are so good today. Whether it's, you know, the Marvel Rivals of the Wuthering, or like Wuthering Waves, which is coming to Xbox next month, and hopefully you guys will give it a chance. It's a really good game. Just get past the 1.0 storyline. It is a bit slow and a slog, but once you get to 2.0, it gets a lot better. But these games are constantly updated and they're free, right? And they consume a lot of your time. They demand your time, and you give it because they're good games. So the number of games you can play every day just isn't enough. People work. So, I mean, look at my kids, right? I've got everything in terms of gaming consoles. They used to play on my Xbox, the PlayStation, the Switch, everything. Now, they don't. I mean, I gave my son my PS5. I didn't sell it to him like DCG did to his girlfriend. I gave him my base PS5. He uses it as a doorstop. That's no insult to anything. I'm just saying he literally just uses it as a doorstop. They don't care about consoles. They're keyboard and mouse users now. They don't even know how to hold a controller more or less because they've migrated to PC and they don't care about anything. They just look at what's available on Steam and buy on Steam because they have the best deals available for them. So I don't really know what they're really getting at. How people aren't buying games or like
that Game Pass still likens to that free feeling in a way. That being said, they still have to make money. So like what, you know, I think it is a challenge for them to solve. And I don't know what the solution is. Like that comes into a financial point where I'm like, that is beyond me. I'm a writer. But I can critically analyze that. Obviously this is a problem, but because of how volatile like a subscriber based organization, like if you're running this massive division on subscribers, that is like a really hard place to be if you falter. So
yeah, I think the thing that I go back to is a couple of different things. So like last night I downloaded Beatdown Survivors. Shout out to my friend New Challenger out in the world, and knew of that game, was like, oh, I forgot it's on Game Pass, let me go play it and check it out and go, and I had a blast with it, and then I wound up buying it. Right, I use Game Pass as a try it before you buy it space, right? Alongside the day one.
And there are a number of people, I at least know of a couple in chat, that actually use Game Pass in that way. They try it and then they buy it, right? And that's fine, but the majority don't do that, right? I don't want to create this illusion that that is what the majority of people do, because they don't. The majority, they sign up to Game Pass for the purpose of getting the Netflix of gaming, day one games on their subscription to play. And most people will play those one and done games and move on. And, you know, there is nothing wrong with that. That is what the service is there for. But, you know, there are people that does what Khalif has actually said there, and I believe that.
Layer of it that I think is really important, right? So I'm a person who am looking at the service as a person who is thinking about, even thinking about the kind of good stewardship part that you talked about a little bit earlier in the show, Miranda, around like, I know that there are games that wouldn't have actually been out in the world without Game Pass, right? They have been subsidized by the upfront money that you wind up getting, and they wind up bridging the gap between getting your thing made or not getting your thing made, right? Some of those people may not have ever gotten the amount of sales that would have been able to recoup whatever that development cost was for them, right? Then you have the Call of Duties who are going to sell no matter what you do. And I'm sure that when you think back about like how much money they potentially didn't make by putting it in Game Pass, that might have not been the right direction for where that game winds up landing in that space. I always think...
See, that's another thing with Call of Duty that keeps on coming up, right? I understand that in terms of sales units, they reported this number that they lost 300 million, right? It was down 300 million from Black Ops 6. But there was more people playing Call of Duty than there was ever. In fact, they registered their highest spike in Game Pass numbers history, as per Satya. What about the microtransactions that are going through? I know that doesn't get equated for in the sales figure, but we never hear how much money people spent on, the Vault upgrade, which is £30 still, right? It's just under half price of the game, but people still paid £30, $29.99 in order to get early access to the campaign and to the multiplayer. And people were happy to pay this. But those figures aren't included in the actual 300 million loss. Then you've got people who buy skins, right? If you've got 10 million people playing your game, and then you get another 10 million coming in from Game Pass that wouldn't have played it anyway, but are having, at least 5 million of those are having a really good time, there's a good chance that 5 million is going to buy a skin or something from the cash shop that they wouldn't have bought before. And so that's additional money that you're getting from those people that you never would have got. But none of that is ever factored in to anything. All they say is, oh, it sold $300 million less than what it did last year. And it's like, yeah, but what about the rest of the revenue that's coming? That's like profit. Oh, look, that skin that they made that probably cost them, an hour to make has now sold like 10,000 copies. That's pure profit. But none of that is ever kind of like mentioned, right? And it's silly. Why aren't these variables ever factored in?
Think of this thing as like one of the things that is missing in this era of gaming, or at least this last this last era of gaming, whatever this last
generation.
Thank you, that's what I was looking for. Was that we don't have a lot of portfolio curation anymore. And I think what Game Pass does is open up a space where you are able to see and play a variety of things that you might not have ever touched before. And it might, again, do that thing of being like, oh, I want to support these folks because they made something dope and I think this is really interesting. Does it wind up hurting the entire industry where we see now some of those folks who are in that mix be hurt in a way that they didn't necessarily foresee? Absolutely. But I think we have now, like you said, have 9 years in. I think there's a space where if you are now looking at that conversation and you go to Xbox and say, hey, I want my game on your platform, you have enough people that you can talk to in the development community to be like, is this, you've made a game that's similar to scope that my game is in. How did you see that kind of work out for you? And you can make a good decision there to be able to say, well, maybe this isn't for me. And maybe I need to do the traditional route and go put it on, multiple platforms, put it on Steam, put it on all these other places where you think might give you the most benefit for your potential growth on this kind of game. I think there's a lot of space that we don't know. And again, I will also raise my hand and be like, I don't know anything about how that thing works in the back end. I don't know I haven't made a biz dev deal yet. You know what I mean? I haven't done that yet. So I don't know, but I do think that like, there are always going to be benefits. I think the thing that comes back to all of these conversations is that we're still talking about risk, right?
Yeah.
And we're still talking about making a bet. Phil Spencer made bets. Xbox made bets. With Don Matrick made bets. Like everyone is making bets. The thing that we don't know is how many of those things are going to pay.
Man, that Don Matrick bet did not work. Just going to put it out there. That Don Matrick bet, that did not work out. Then he went over to Google and it still did not work out there. Poor guy. He sunk everywhere he went.
Off, how many things are going to tank, and then how many of those things are going to have to be readjusted for, again, a moving target that is consistently changing, that consistently changes based on the market. No one knew that we were going to be in a silicon and AI crisis now with hardware. No one knew that we were going to have the COVID part of it that I talked about earlier. No one knew that Roblox and Fortnite were going to become the biggest things on the planet and suck up so much of your time alongside social media and TikTok and all those other layers of stuff. No one knew that stuff. You know what I mean? So we're all trying to get in where we fit in while also trying to figure out where things are going to be and forecasting as far as you can. But it's all a moving target. And those things are going to, the thing that is the most important is how do these companies adjust quickly?
Right.
Can you make, like, they made that change really fast when they saw, oh, we're hemorrhaging a lot of subscribers here. We need to readjust that and figure out what that looks like. Now in Asha's kind of new space, she's going to have to consistently think about how fast and nimble they can move to adjust to all of these market changes that are happening that are self-imposed, historical from the brand, and going to be coming in from all the things that we're now seeing alongside tariffs, alongside weird things that are happening across the geopolitical spectrum. All those things are going to be tied to the way that business works in the video game space moving forward. And you can't deny that. So that's going to be the space where we wind up seeing the most change. And I think now that they're being more transparent with some of these things and ripping the Band-Aid off, it doesn't help the developers who are going to be hurt, but it also gives people the space to understand what is actually kind of happening when these discussions wind up popping up.
I'm glad you mentioned curation because first of all, there are plenty of Game Pass success stories. I've talked to plenty of developers that plenty of them have put out press releases where like they've been huge on Game Pass, bigger than they would have been, without that sort of spotlight on them. So I don't want to sit here and make it seem like I'm saying that Game Pass is this like complete total failure.
Game Pass is the devil. No, just wait.
In any sense. But I'm so glad you brought up curation because if you're playing the unlocked drinking game at home, buckle up. This is again like they had a thing that they could still bring back. Called Xbox Live Arcade.
Oh man!
to your point, Kyle, when you said that you use Game Pass to try stuff out, Live Arcade games, part of the mandate of the program was that every Live Arcade game had a free playable demo right at launch. Like it was part of your certification and submission process as part of getting your game out on the Xbox Live Arcade.
Do you know why people don't like doing demos? Does anyone in chat know? I mean, demos are good, right? Because they give you an indication of what the games are, what they're going to play like, what the situation is. But do you know why studios do not like doing demos? There's a very good reason why we don't see demos anymore. It's very rare that we do. It's not the main reason. If a demo is really bad, like say, for example, Forspoken, which was terrible. Like the demo was absolutely dog shit. And I told that to the Square Enix rep when they contacted me, and they asked me what did I think of the demo. And I told them it was absolute dog shit because the final version of the game was 10 times better, 100 times better. It was a different game, but the demo was dog shit. So in that regard, I can say there are instances where it can hurt the sales, but that's not the main reason. Let's see. The demo can hold the whole game. No. Game Pass is the full game demo. People weren't buying the games because they tried it. Nope. All right. No one. It's a double-edged sword, kind of. It's all risk, very little reward. You're getting closer. Okay, I'll tell you. Number one, it's wasted resources. It's throwaway content, right? That demo, they're having to take people off the actual main project to work on a version of the build that by the time you get to play it is about 3 to 5 months old, right? And then that demo is basically thrown away without any value. And you're now trying a demo out of a version of the game that is so old that it's not even worth trying. And that can hurt your game a lot, just like Forspoken saw as a prime example. But that is the big reason why they don't want to do it, because the amount of money that's invested in these playable demos that they push out, especially with how old the build is compared to where they are now. Trust me, because I've worked in the games industry. I've seen it with my own eyes when we were working on builds at Sega with, that were like almost like 8, 9, 10 builds behind when I was testing those builds to make sure they were ready for visual, for people to try out. And what we had in that demo and then what we had in the where they were in development, man, it was night and day. Right? It was night and day. There was more features available in that build that they had going, and it was more polished and more refined than what we had. But we had to freeze time at that point, and that was what we were going to show people. That was what we were going to show investors. That was what we were going to show that was potentially going to be shown back then at E3. And so it's really bad because you're showing a version of the game, and you can turn around and say till you're black and blue that this is not a final representation of the final build. No one gives a crap about that. No one. Because no one believes it. They're going to see what is there, and if it ain't good, you've just ruined any chance you have of that game succeeding. And that's why people don't like doing demos. Because the risk factor of losing all sales is so high. And on top of that, the resources that you have to pull off of the main project is only going to slow the main development of the game down. To be honest, yeah, I judge games by the demo. Exactly. Exactly. That's the point. And they're there to be judged, right? They're there to be judged. And that's why studios don't like doing it. Because it's throwaway content, it's old content, and if it's not up to standard, it's going to do more harm than good. Now, once the game comes out and it's finished, like say what they did with Final Fantasy Rebirth, and then they released the demo available for people to try out, that's fine because you're basing that off the final build of the game. And that works. But if you're doing it while the game is in development so people can give it a try and it turns out not to be so good before the release, then you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot and it can end up killing the studio, like we've seen countless times.
Platform. There is the Indie Select thing now that I get press releases from the PR team every now and again about. But I'm telling you, it's just, I think Live Arcade could still be useful in 2026 and beyond, given prominent placement, given its own tab on the dashboard, like Game Pass has its own tab, and you curate that with editorially minded voices within Microsoft, as it was back in the day where when you are getting a cool selection of like 4 or 5 games in a given week of like, hey, here's our, it's Live Arcade Wednesday. Here's what's out. Here's what we've got for you this week. So I just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, like I put this out on my social on Twitter the other day, and I got to say, I got a ton of really great, thought-provoking, excellent responses. And the thought was, and I've started to bring this up earlier, and is Game Pass, Miranda, you started to go down this road as well. I don't know if Game Pass in its current form is compatible with the idea of exclusives coming back to Xbox. And again, I'm not, for anybody listening, I'm not trying to say that I don't want exclusives back on Xbox, because it would be cool to have some special stuff for the
Confirmed. Ryan McCaffrey doesn't want exclusives back on Xbox, just putting it out there.
Platform again. But I just don't know if with all these margin challenges that Xbox is having, their inability to sell games, their inability to sell hardware, can you have day one AAA games on your streaming service, your subscription service, while also having exclusives? Because I'm just not sure that you can make the revenue on that work. Like I will say, as a pretty uninformed perspective, because I don't know exactly how much Gears of War E-Day cost to make. I know it's pretty damn expensive because they've been working on it for a long time. It's a AAA production, but I do have concern about the future viability of Gears. What's the metric of success for Gears of War E-Day when it clearly it's going to end up costing them a lot of money to have made by the time this thing comes out, especially when you factor in marketing and all that stuff, when the only place to play it is on the distant third place console platform and on the thankfully growing PC platform. Like, so that's, and you've got Game Pass. Like, are people going to sign up for Game Pass to play Gears of War E-Day? They might, but are they going to stick around for 3, 4, 5 months, or at least the equivalent price of what it would be to purchase the game? Maybe not. They might just subscribe for a month, maybe 2, and then be like, all right, I played my Gears and there's nothing else here that I super care about right now. I'm out. So,
but that's more money that they're going to get than they wouldn't, because they probably wouldn't be paying for Gears anyway. Right? I mean, I pre-ordered the collector's edition of Gears, right, and I'm looking forward to that coming. Bit salty, I missed out on the Halo one, but even if it was a standard edition, I would have bought it. But the reality is, some of these people just won't buy it until it goes on sale. until it drops down to that $10 range. So the fact that they're subscribing for 1 or 2 months means you're actually getting more money out of them. There's no guarantee that these people are going to play it day and date when it's released at full price. This is what I mean. There's a lot of variables here that is never considered. They always look at it's either black or white. They never look at the gray. And the gray is the most important part of these conversations. And it's always just, what the hell?
That's where I don't know the answer, but we do know Asha said in the very beginning when she first started that Game Pass would continue to evolve and continue to change. And I think they're probably trying to figure that out right now, because I just don't see how economically, again, I'm on the outside, I don't know their numbers, but to my layman brain and eyes, I just don't see a way for Xbox console exclusives to coexist with Game Pass having day one AAA new first party releases, and for that to be any more economically viable than the mess that they currently find themselves in.
Yeah. It feels like they have to reckon with these two paths that they have, that like they went one way, right? With Game Pass, multi-platform, kind of becoming more of a place to publish games rather than like an exclusive console ecosystem. And like we have this as an option if you want it, and that's kind of the direction they were moving in. And now they're like, wait, this isn't popular enough. Like we're losing like fan base in some ways. Like let's completely change direction, which is what Asha's doing. But then that kind of is at odds with what they were building for the past few years, right? And so it's like, but how do you like reckon those two ideas? And I think the unfortunate thing that I think will lead us into our next topic a bit too is shutdowns. That is the reckoning. Is the reckoning is, well, is it working out in the way we wanted financially, or how we can like realistically manage what we want to do? So we're going to go instead be back in competitive space with console, like the console market. Like we do actually want that, and PC specifically, and refocus how we're doing things instead of being a bigger, wider, kind of almost like publisher aligned thing with options for hardware and accessories. So.
Yeah, I think for me,
I think one of the issues that people aren't really thinking about is like, for example, you got people that are paid off for 3 years of their Game Pass, right? And they signed up to that 3 years of Game Pass with the notion that they're getting day and date games. If I'm just going to put this out there as a hypothetical, if they remove that day and date, what's going to happen to the people that have invested and paid 3 years in advance for that service? Is Microsoft just going to refund them their money? Because that's going to cost them a lot of money. Isn't there going to be any legal situation there that's going to prevent them from doing that? Because that sounds a little shady. Hey, thank you for the 2 Devastator. Are they ponies or just journalists? I think a bit of both. But, you know, if that happens, I'm going to cut my losses and scrap Xbox entirely. It's a valid question, right? You would be entitled to at least some portion of a refund. Or maybe they'll say, right, we're going to extend your Game Pass from 3 years to 6 years. And you'll still get like third-party day and dates in there. Maybe. I don't know. Well, like, I don't know what the solution to that would be. I mean, they've tried the multi-platform approach and it didn't work. In fact, Phil Spencer telling people to go to PC did just that. And a lot of people did go to PC. And surprise and behold, they're not going to the Xbox PC store. They're going to Steam. So Microsoft is, you know, during the era of Phil and Sarah, where they were pushing people away from the console because you don't need a console to play games. You can play it on your PC. Well, that's what people did. But the problem is none of them really migrated to the Xbox PC app. They migrated to Steam. So all those third-party games that people are now buying, Xbox doesn't get that 30%. So they're losing a metric ton of money from that alone. And now from their first-party games, they're also losing a 30% from that as well.
Think about my usage of Game Pass in this way. And I think if you take day one out, that becomes a much less exciting prospect for me. Sure. Day one is the reason why I have Game Pass currently at this point. It's the reason I want it. I think the potential fix for them could be, and this is probably not right, because I think about, you know, the price of a game is $70. We know that AAA games and kind of your marquee games are going to be in that space. You know, I think about how much money I've spent on Game Pass leading up to when a release is happening, and I've already paid for Gears of War E-Day. If you think about what I paid over the monthly time that a game subscription has gone, I paid for E-Day already in that way. But I do think the people who are coming in and saying, I'm going to do this for a shorter amount of time, or I'm going to buy that subscription, play through it really fast, and then do that thing. that is a worry for a lot of folks in that space. I think that definitely is a part of that conversation in a way that doesn't necessarily help the bottom line for where you want it to be. And that's the conundrum that they're always going to wind up being in, unless they either remove day one stuff and give you either, if you are subscribed to that thing.
How is that any different to any other subscription service? Like, how is that any different? Like, if I wanted to watch that Dwayne Johnson film, Red something, I can't remember. It's Red something. And that was the only movie I was interested in watching, right? And I wanted to sign up to it for that 1 month. That film costs like how many hundreds of millions to make? But I just want it for that movie. I'm going to sign up for a month. I'm going to binge whatever I can. I'm going to make sure I get like $400 or $500 worth of value out of that. And then after my first month, I dip because I don't want to watch anything else. How's that different to any other service? That's something that is literally an inherent problem to all subscription services. So how is that any different to any other service? Sure, the games industry will get hit a little harder. I'm not going to deny that. But the principle is the same. No, I said Phil's vision was for Game Pass to hit 200 million. And if Game Pass had hit 200 million at the time, we wouldn't be having this conversation about anything right now, because Xbox would have been laughing, cheering, and they'd be more successful than they've ever been. Or you never watched Stranger Things, and as soon as it's ended, you want to binge 5 seasons. How much did those 5 seasons? Exactly. That's the point, right? You can just sit down, binge it in a week, or, in a month, whatever. You can get through all 5 in 1 month. It's only like 8 episodes or 9 episodes a season anyway. You could technically, if you really wanted to, get through all 5 seasons in under a week. It'll be unhealthy, but you could do it. And then you dip. I don't know. That is a problem that's inherent to all subscriptions. And if they're going to tell me that they didn't foresee this, that's silly. The reality is they wanted big numbers in subscriptions. They expected big numbers in subscriptions, and it didn't happen. And so now they're going to reevaluate. And I think they are going to reevaluate. Right? And I can see them going through all sorts of thoughts in their mind. Like, for example, if they remove day-and-date games from Game Pass, but they'll turn around and say, right, I know you've got your subscription and everything, and, we're lowering the subscription down from $16.99 to $13.99 or whatever it is. But if you want to buy any games that are first-party games, you get 50% or 60% off the purchase price. As a Game Pass subscriber, we're going to give you 50 to 60% off the base value. So instead of you paying £70 for it, you pay £30 for it. It's an option. I don't know how well that will go down with the community, but that way they can keep people on the service and enjoy a pretty big discount for being a part of the service. I don't know. But right now, I can't see them fully removing day and date, especially after the debacle with Call of Duty. But I can see them totally reevaluating everything when it comes to Game Pass, because it didn't hit the highs that they wanted. And I use Game Pass a lot, right? I love Game Pass. Same, it's so much money.
You're not having those day one experiences. Maybe potentially because you're a subscriber, you offer them a discount and say, hey, you don't have to spend $70 on this game because you're a subscriber. Yeah. Maybe we charge you, right? We charge you 50 for it as opposed to the full 70.
I've not watched this. This is some weird coincidence. No way. Oh, wow. Talk about timing. No way. He literally said exactly what I said. There is no way. Oh, man.
Right? Like maybe there's a balance there where you can kind of figure out some good language there, which then also again keeps your players a little bit happier. You then don't have to think about potentially what this game is going to go to Sony in this way, even though it probably should, because you still need the money. So it's really about just like how do you balance out the value versus what perceived value, actual value, and what do you think is going to be there for you when you subscribe to the thing. But who knows? Like, again, I don't know where they're going to go from a pricing perspective or a space that's going to keep people happy when all of this bad, these bad vibes keep coming out, right? It's hard to sell the thing that you want people to enjoy and be excited about while also saying, hey, the person who just made that thing is not even going to be here next year or in the next 4 months, right? That makes that much harder to be able to say out loud.
So as Miranda alluded,
Yep.
all of this grim financial outlook and a resetting of the business, which is code for layoffs, that appears to be happening. None of this is official yet as of this recording. That could change by the time you hear this. But what we are staring down right now are reports of Compulsion Games getting shut down, Ninja Theory getting shut down, and potentially Double Fine getting shut down. There could be more. There could be others. These studios, I guess, let me go through.
Gaming, they don't do that right now. They give you like a 10% discount, but I'm talking something. We're talking substantial, right? We're talking like 50% off, 40% off, not like 10% off. They do that right now. They give you like 10% off here and there, but I'm talking like massive discount for being an ultimate subscriber. I'm talking like 50% or more. Thank you for the 2, Devastator. To be honest, ponies are extremely predictable. I mean, they're pretty much going off on a tangent right now on social media. I'm still seeing people crying about, Gears, which is weird. PlayStation doesn't have 90+ million subscribers. Oh, I know they don't, dude. I've got 2 PS5s, 2 Series X's, well, Series S and X. Someone I know has had every single PlayStation 5 variant, from the all digital to the physical to the slim to the pro. And they've got now multiple pros in their house. Right? So they've probably bought like 8 PS5s on their own. And there are multiple people like this out there. Maybe not to that extravagant length, but you can clearly see that that's, it's not the numbers don't reflect the true story. And this is why I've always said both Microsoft and Sony, they hide their actual active user numbers for that reason, because their actual active user numbers on PSN and Xbox Live is going to be very different to what those console sales are.
Go through the news as it was here. So Compulsion is seemingly the closest one to actually confirmed. If it, again, maybe it is by the time you hear this, but they were founded in 2009 by a former Arcane developer named Guillaume.
They never have evidence.
I've met, super nice guy. They made Contrast in 2013, which was really good. We Happy Few, which a lot of people liked a lot. I thought it was an awesome and had so much potential. It didn't quite get there for me, but there was a lot in there. That was 2018. Gearbox published that back when Gearbox was sort of doing their little experimentation as a publisher. Then Microsoft bought them. And when we finally got South of Midnight last year, which got excellent reviews, and I played a bit of it, that's excellent game. Had a great time with it.
Award-winning.
Yes,
yeah.
That's
multiple
very true.
awards.
It absolutely won some awards. So Kotaku is reporting that the Compulsion layoffs may total more than 90 staff just months after the studio advertised jobs for a new IP. Now, Kotaku said one source indicated Compulsion leadership is in negotiations with Microsoft over the studio's fate. And that's kind of the same situation with Ninja Theory and Double Fine, who are reportedly negotiating with Microsoft to potentially go independent. Now, there are all sorts of big money questions that have to get answered. Thanks for checking out this clip from Unlocked, IGN's weekly Xbox show. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to watch.
Oh, okay, fair enough. It was just a clip. Never mind. South of Midnight for me was one of the best games I played that year. I am a huge fan of South of Midnight. I love that game. It was so good. I didn't use Kotaku. This is IGN. I mean, Kotaku is just scam, right? They're just silly. They're just silly. I'm going to run through a bit more of the news that we've got here. And then there was a tiny showcase that we missed. I don't know if we've got time for it. I don't know if anyone wants it. I'll do a little poll to see if anyone wants to check it out. But let's run through the remaining bits of news that we have today before we go anywhere else. Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and 2 is getting a re-release on PlayStation. There's going to be specific ports made for PlayStation. It's the PS3 versions of the game because PlayStation can't play them. So they're making ports. Well, Microsoft is porting Black Ops 1 and 2 over to PlayStation because they're already available on Xbox by default because of backwards compatibility. You've got Winter Shoulder here asking, why not just do remasters and re-release them for all platforms? Was this another field special? This seems a little weird. It's not a remaster. This is literally just them taking the PS3 port and it's coming over to be playable. Because as you know, PlayStation's backwards compatibility doesn't work with the PS3 games. PS3 games are just essentially, unless you're emulating, lost to the wind. And so they're getting some of these games that are wanted by the community and porting them over so they're available on PlayStation. I don't really have that. I don't see anything wrong with it personally because Xbox already has it. It's just going to be the PS3 port. Now, if they turn around and did a complete remaster only for PlayStation, then I think Xbox fans would have reason to get annoyed. But then you've got the notion that, is this taking development time off a Call of Duty game that is coming? Is there even any worth or value in doing this? Who knows? Clearly, they're seeing something that we don't. It is not going to be free for PlayStation. They still have to buy it. It is a port that's coming. We're going to check that out in just a sec, Devastator, because it looked weird to my Destiny fans out there. And I know there are some Guardians in the chat. We this is pretty sad, right? I actually read this is pretty bad. So essentially, Destiny, as you know, right now is in maintenance mode. They've released their final update and it's pretty much done for. However, Bungie right now are working on hot fixes and bug fixes in order to iron out some of the bugs, because obviously a Destiny update wouldn't be an update without bugs, and they usually break everything. Like the recent one you've got now, where you can put the same artifact over and over again, and everyone in the game right now is deleting all the raid bosses and getting all the loot like there's no tomorrow. And everyone is having a great time. However, the next hotfix that they're going to drop is likely going to be their last. So whatever bugs and stuff are remaining, Sony is not going to let anyone touch Destiny. They're not going to let anyone work on any emergency fixes or nothing. They're removing everyone. They're not even leaving a tiny 2 or 3 man crew to work on any bug fixes or hot fixes that need after this one, because they're clearly not going to get everything fixed in time. But Sony is really trying to delete this game entirely. It's bad, man. I think that's really bad. See, go stay there, Larry. Animo, I mean, Devastator. Asher said that they are going to be leaning into third-party exclusives a lot more for the Xbox platform. So we're going to see a lot more of that as time goes on. Like, they're literally just... I still think this is their way of hatred to Pete Parsons, because he really screwed them over. No matter which way you look at it, Pete performed the biggest heist of all heists. That guy was I don't know how he managed to do it, but Sony went in and he was like, yeah, look at this. We've got Destiny over here. We've got Marathon over here. We've got Gummy Bears over here. We've got an incubation project over here. We've got NetEase over here looking to make stuff. We've got a third incubation project over here. Look at all these games we've got. How much do you think that's worth? How many billions of dollars? And then Sony were like, we're not going to bother looking into any of this and see how far along they are. We're just going to believe you, Pete, because that's what we do. And so Sony parted ways with 3.6 billion. And Pete said, right, I'm going straight to the auction to see what vintage cars I can buy. Screw everyone else. And yeah, he then took his 2.5 million and jettisoned off into an island. And left the rest of the staff to sink. I'd rather have free healthcare than... Oh, are we still talking about that? Jesus. This is a gaming stream, man. Keep it to gaming. Yeah, Microsoft did. They did approach Microsoft, and honestly, at the time, Devastator, I am convinced that Microsoft would have taken Bungie back. I reckon they would have taken Bungie back if Pete wasn't there. But Pete wanted to remain in charge of Bungie, and I reckon that was the reason why Microsoft said no. Did I see the Sean Layden stuff? I did. And look, every once in a while, Zoldyck, Sean Layden becomes irrelevant and no one remembers who he is, right? And then he will rear his head and go, Xbox bad! And then everyone will cheer because, he's saying Xbox bad. It doesn't matter what's actually coming out of his mouth. Everything that comes out of his mouth translates to Xbox bad. And then he gets some relevance, and I'm guessing Tencent like that because, let's face it, Tencent isn't exactly the best company out there. But have you ever seen him talk about Tencent? He was probably 10 times worse than most of any other company, including Microsoft. Yeah, I haven't seen it either, and that's the problem. I've seen Destiny fans hoping and begging Microsoft to save the IP. A part of me really wants it for that to happen. I don't want Destiny to die. I've had my problems with it, but my problems was with the management. Pete is long gone. He's finished. They've booted him out. You've now got a team there that can do the job. And if you look at the latest update that they've released, it's phenomenal. It shows you what the team can truly do. And, I think Destiny just deserved better. I know some people were going to say, oh, does Chaos, don't be supporting that pony game. But look, it is what it is. I feel like, it's a shame that they're killing the brand. I think they should have started a Destiny 3. That's just my opinion. Tencent wants to buy everything, man. They are considering. It looks like they're looking to make a Halo version of Destiny IP. I don't know how that's going to work out, but the worst part is that with Destiny, the actual they basically started a new story that could easily lead into Destiny. That is leading into Destiny 3. It's a new story arc, and you are finally getting ready to go and fight the big bad. The Witness wasn't the big bad. There was the one above that was controlling the Witness. And he leaves the final message. And, the developers did a really good job with the final send-off because Zavala's gone. Ikora is the new Vanguard. Cade is dead, as you know. Morozov goes off looking for her beloved. Eris Morn hears chatterings about one of Oryx's sisters, so she's gone off to look for that, and you may not hear from her for a while. And in terms of the 9, you find out that they were just a bunch of wanks, but their big bad that you've seen before, the Winnower, he or whatever entity that he is, finally wants to have a face-to-face with you, and it looks like he's there to protect you in some way as a weapon. But they've left Destiny 3 open so if anyone wants to reopen that door in the future, the story is there for them to do it. And I think that was the best way that they could end it in the short time that they had. A lot of the other sub-characters, they basically wrote out and ended their stories entirely. Yeah, the Winnower. But yeah, that leads on to this. Bungie set to lose roughly 400 staff in the summer. And all these 400 that they're losing is the Destiny 2 staff. Nothing to do with Marathon. How do you bank your money on Marathon? Of all the games, Marathon. How do you bank? I don't even know how you do that, right? I mean, I think it was Taz that sent me this, right? This was hilarious. PlayStation goes, eyes on hey, pre-order GTA 6 from me. If only you cared about Destiny this much. Easiest Xbox purchase decision of my life since you clowns murdered Destiny. GTA is overrated. I was completely set on picking up a PS5 to play this game, and then Sony decided to needlessly kill my favorite franchise on a grudge. It's a good thing GTA 6 isn't owned by Sony. They'd probably kill it too. Gonna buy an Xbox for this purely out of spite. I haven't owned an Xbox since the 360, thinking about getting one for GTA 6 based on how Sony has handled Destiny. I could pre-order GTA 6 on PS5, but I think I'll go buy an Xbox and do it there instead. And this whole thing just continues going on in the same vein. It's quite funny. It's quite funny. It's you've got Aztecross as well cheering on, championing the whole thing. It's pretty impressive how he's look. My guy is even selling he's getting rid of his Sony TV. He doesn't want anything Sony related in his house. It's kind of amusing. Black Myth Wukong has surpassed 30 million copies sold worldwide, with half overseas purchase, says CYL. Pretty impressive. 15 million was in China alone, apparently. And the other 15 million was the rest of the world. Kind of crazy. Sleeping Dogs is better. Imagine if Microsoft buys Destiny IP. I think they should. Xbox is gearing up to join PayPal and Klarna's. Apparently, this was big news. Everyone was losing their mind, but essentially, they're just. PayPal offers interest-free payments for like 4 months with a buy now, pay later. Currently, you can't use PayPal to pay for Xboxes. Apparently, you're now going to be able to. So, as a way of being able to get an Xbox and it not costing you an arm and a leg, personally, I would recommend you just save your money and pay for it all in once, so you don't have to go into debt. But for those of you that really want one, it's an option and it's something that they're going to offer. Don't Nod. Don't Nod's studio financial situation is claimed to be bad. Reserves are getting low, and Tencent, the company that Bellend works for, refuses to fund another game or increase capital. The outlook is bleak at Don't Nod. An audit report warns that the studio's cash reserves will be completely depleted by November. And it looks like Don't Nod will disappear. And it's such a shame because I do like the Life is Strange games. And their new affiliate game apparently is really good as well. But people didn't buy it because it has a black character in there. And this one has, LGBTQ themes running through it. And so people refused to buy that as well. It's a shame. I think it was definitely worth their time. They're good games, but because of the mind virus, they've gone their separate ways, and people won't buy them. Might play Sleeping Dogs next. We'll play Great on the Rug, especially with the heat wave supposedly on the way. Damn straight. Where is... Oh, Ghosty, what was this recently? Interesting. I think that was in regards to the Game Pass thing, right? There was this one last thing I wanted to check out. It looks like we're not going to have time for this showcase today. But there is... Where is it? Where did you post it? There it is. So there is another Xbox exclusive coming along. It's called Anemo. I believe it's a game that's looking to challenge the likes of what are you doing? You're dead now. I killed the bug, chat, because I'm just that good. No fear. All right, so this is a game that's apparently coming to Xbox, and it's apparently exclusive as well. It's called Anemo. It's a 7-minute trailer or gameplay showcase. So this is the new game that's trying to compete with, I guess, the likes of Power World.
Someone's coming.
And Pokemon.
Tomorrow, the operation officially begins. Who's there?
I don't know if it's 100% exclusive. I've just been told. Devastator was saying it's exclusive. I haven't looked up if it is or not. Maybe someone can confirm on Google.
Our time is up. It looks like this is where it ends. When the vein recognizes you, I may be able to appear once again.
Animations look nice. I'm not too sold on the running animation, but the creatures look pretty cool. The environments look good. You can clearly see in the art style that they're leaning on. Texture crafted in every detail. I mean, it looks nice. Graphically, it looks good. I don't think this is due for release until 27, maybe even later. It's not something that's due out now. No one cares about Insect Bug Lady. Another incoming Nintendo lawsuit. It's on PS5 too. Thanks for confirming, Zoldyck. So it looks like you won't be able to use your main character to do combat. You're gonna do it with pets only. So it's a little different. And Nintendo got bitch slapped anyway with the whole Power World situation. They lost that hard. It's on mobile as well. I suspected as much because it does look like it has that gacha aesthetic on it. This is the level of quality I expect normally from gacha games. I expect a bit better lighting depending on the studio. Like Kuro Games now has done really well with their lighting effects and whatnot. So you can turn into different creatures and do combat. Maybe it was originally planned for PS5 and it got cancelled? What does AI say? This is the prequel to Doom Bag. Oh yeah. Gacha games have come a long way from what people expect and what they were. This is a lot more in line with what I would expect from, in terms of graphical fidelity. I mean, the performance on this is struggling bad, but this is what I would expect a lot more from gacha games now. Anything really less than this is not acceptable in the gacha universe. Hey, look. The jiggle physics are really important. And if you was in my stream yesterday, I was playing a standalone game that's not gacha, but the jiggle physics were equally as important. I don't discriminate. Jiggle is jiggle. All I'm saying. You want to see the jiggle physics, you come to my stream, check out the games I'm playing. Twitch.tv/castbound_. Go and follow. Hey, so. That's the central hub that you're going to be around. Remember DOA Extreme Portable? Oh, I do. That was peak. That was when Xbox actually wanted to, be as edgy as possible. Are we sure this isn't? This isn't a free-to-play game? I mean, it looks like a free-to-play game with some of the mechanics in there. Because that just looks like currency you can do every day for a daily. Yeah, it's available on PS5. Available on PC, pre-order on the App Store, register on Google. So this is available right now to play. Might have to give it a try. Probably won't have much time, but, you know. Anyone played Almost Human? I did. I didn't really like it. The first mission was amazing. And then the second, once you get out of the tutorial, it just becomes a generic game. It's free to play? Yeah, I thought so. I thought so. Well, chat, I think I've got through everything I wanted to. Oh, there is one more thing. We missed Halo, the Fall of Reach, like you've never heard it before, announcing an all-new, fully dramatized adaptation of the Master Chief's origin story, not the one from Paramount, performed by a full cast led by the iconic series voices Steve Downes as Master Chief, Jen Taylor, and Tim Dadebo. It's coming November the 10th, and you can pre-order it. Okay. Kind of cool. All good, Mash. All good. I've met Steve 5 times. Nice. Oh, God. No. That guy just doesn't stop. That guy doesn't stop. But chat, that is all the news I had for today. I really appreciate everyone for turning up. I do stream over at Twitch Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays on long form, like for 5-6 hours. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I stream for a couple of hours a day now over at Twitch in the morning. And those 2 days, I generally check out demos. But the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I play games that I'm currently playing through on my backlog and just go through it. And, we hang out, talk about chill stuff. So if you want to, check that out, feel free to check me out over at Twitch. And I'm trying to get to 50 followers so I can kind of push my affiliate through. So if you could help with that, that would be amazing. Just stopping by, dropping a follow, hanging out, that would be great. But otherwise, if you're not interested in that, that is perfectly fine. I will see you back here on Tuesday unless something absolutely dramatic happens where I do an emergency stream. And, well, until I release my next video. Folks, that is going to be it. Chaos, please don't change out your channel music. Love the little tune at the start and end of your videos. No, I will not. Always there. All right, folks. I will see you next time.